America needs a tidal wave of the old-time religion.
I have sinned against you.
How dare you!
We have no need to doubt God.
The heart of Babylon is preparing the nations to receive the Antichrist.
I didn't even build that house with money from the church. I built it with money from my book.
I don't make this stuff up.
Repenting of your sin.
It is a moral issue.
They got together and swore a pact to the devil.
I just enjoy seeing people worship, praising God.
Hey everybody, welcome to Believe It or Not.
Another episode, another day, but this is a special episode today.
This is special. We did 1 year of this thing.
One whole year. Time just flew by.
Time has flown by like when you see a bird and it flies right by you.
Yeah, and so I don't know if this is your first time listening or if you've been listening since the beginning or sometime in between.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way, this is for you.
This is for you. This is a thank you, I guess.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank us. Thank each. Thanks everybody.
Yeah, thank you. And Trev, thank you.
And Damien, thank you. This has been a ride.
Oh,
this has been, something else. 20 something episodes in a year.
Yeah.
And because bi-weekly, folks, calm down.
Be 26, wouldn't it?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So here we go. I found some clips.
Mm-hmm.
I think that are kind of show what we've done in the last.
This is almost like our greatest hits album.
Like a greatest hits album. Some fun clips, some interesting things. But before we got into that, I'm starting to question whether we should keep doing this, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah?
I got a very touching email from from my friend's mom, or she sent me this message on Facebook.
Well, let's hear it, because I'm ready to have my mind changed.
It may have changed my mind. So this is what she sent me. And the first line is that it's a true story, so you know.
Oh, well, it has to be
true.
It's
a true story if it says right in the story. So this is a true story of something that happened just a few years ago at USC. There was a professor of philosophy there who was a deeply committed atheist. His primary goal for one required class was to spend the entire semester attempting to prove that God couldn't exist. His students were always afraid to argue with him because of his impeccable logic. For 20 years he had taught this class, and no one had ever had the courage to go against him. Sure, some had argued in class at times, but no one had ever really gone against him. You'll see what I mean later. Nobody would go against him because he had a reputation. At the end of every semester, on the last day, he would say to his class of 300 students, "If there's anyone who still believes in Jesus, stand up." In 20 years, no one had ever stood up. They knew what he was going to do next. He would say, because anyone who does not believe in God is a fool. If God existed, he could stop this piece of chalk from hitting the ground and breaking. Such a simple task to prove that God, that he is God, and yet he can't do it. And every year he would drop the chalk onto the floor in the classroom, and it would shatter to 100 pieces.
Yeah.
The students would do nothing but stop and stare. Most of the students were convinced that God couldn't exist. Certainly a number of Christians had slipped through, but for 20 years, they had been too afraid to stand up. Well, a few years ago, there was a freshman who happened to get enrolled into the class. He was a Christian, and he had heard the stories about the professor. He had to take the class because it was one of the required classes for his major, and he was afraid. But for 3 months that semester, he prayed every morning that he would have the courage to stand up no matter what the professor said or what the class thought. Nothing they said or did could ever shatter his faith, he hoped. Finally, the day came. The professor said, "If there is anyone here who still believes in God, stand up." The professor and the class of 300 people looked at him, shocked as he stood up at the back of the classroom. The professor shouted, "You fool! If God existed, he could keep this piece of chalk from breaking when it hit the ground." He proceeded to drop the chalk, but as he did, it slipped out of his fingers, off the shirt cuff, onto the pleats of his pants, down his leg, and off his shoe. As it hit the ground, it simply rolled away, unbroken. The professor's jaw dropped as he stared at the chalk. He looked up at the young man and then ran out of the lecture hall. The young man who had stood up, proceeded to walk to the front of the room and share his faith in Jesus for the next half hour. 300 students stayed and listened as he told God's love for them and of his power through Jesus. So, yeah, that was sent to me by my friend's mother.
Right.
And I feel like it really means a lot, and I think it proves.
Yeah, I mean, it really makes me question things.
Mm-hmm. Like the legitimacy of that story.
Yeah, because I think I've seen it before.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've sent it or if I've seen.
Yeah, there's many variations of it. I may have forwarded it to you,
but
yeah,
there's a few problems with the story.
Yeah,
I don't know if we really need to get into it.
I don't think we do.
But wow, powerful words
and,
with no real point.
No real point.
Yeah. So thank you.
No problem. I'm surprised it didn't say at the end, and that young man was Albert Einstein. There's probably versions that say that young man was Albert Einstein.
Yeah, I feel it'd be like if you love Jesus, share if you want to save humanity.
Actually, the one I got was a little different than this, and on the bottom it said press the forward, like hold and press down to forward to anyone on your friends list.
Right.
So, I don't know.
Yes, because that doesn't prove anything at all, really.
Right.
But,
no.
That's cool.
That's cool, yeah. But here's some other things, other criticisms we had, and some other clips. You ever heard the term Christianese?
Christianese?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
What is that?
The whole Christian subculture.
Mm-hmm.
They're like almost in a bubble, you'd say.
Yeah.
So they start having their own phrases and terms that mean something to them, so that like certain words or things to say, like to a Christian, someone who grew up in the church, it would just be like you immediately understand what you're talking about, but everybody else, it just sounds like nonsense. Like, example, have you ever heard the term washed in the blood?
It sounds familiar, but I don't know if I probably heard it and didn't know what it meant. So
the belief is Jesus died for your sins, and so if you don't have any sins, then you're clean. So it was him giving up his blood that cleaned you, but instead they say washed in the blood, which is pretty dark.
Okay.
When you think about it, something like growing up, I never thought of how like disturbing that sounded, but
it's a pretty great inside joke to have, though.
Yeah.
Have we really talked about the Holy Trinity yet?
Not really, actually.
That's something I don't know a lot about it.
Yeah.
And it seems, from my understanding, it's three parts of a whole, is it not? But they are three separate things.
They're three separate things. They are equal and one and three.
Okay.
It's very confusing. The Bible doesn't actually say anything about it.
Old-fashioned revival hour.
Oh no.
Which, side note, but why have people always been obsessed with getting back to the way it used to be, especially in religion?
I don't know. I think part of it has to do with nostalgia, and it's also a way of kind of scapegoating their problems. Like, things used to be better. It's like, no, they didn't. They were always shit.
You just have to deal with
You live longer, and there's medical care. Well, not anymore. Not with all these anti-vaxxers and flat earthers and climate change deniers. And, all these people who are just
it was getting better for a very long time, and now it's slowly getting worse.
We're kind of reaching an equilibrium where half of us will die out, and then we'll get better.
We'll figure it out. Yeah,
it gets a little bit better.
It gets a little better.
Of singing in the heavenly choir, and
it sounds really dull.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be rude to your to some people's notions of what the afterlife is, but if that's all you do in the first 90 minutes.
Yeah, it's true. Well, it's orientation, right?
Yeah, I guess. You get the tour, you have to sing with the choir.
Your pamphlets, like here's what to expect in heaven.
Yeah. Like, here's your key card for your room.
Yeah.
Your roommate, this is your roommate. Ted.
Just go to heaven, get a roommate.
I'm sure you do. In the celestial dorms.
Forgiving, but with only like certain parameters, like
is forgiveness with a caveat really forgiveness?
Exactly. Exactly.
If you have to put a little asterisk beside it, it's like I'll only forgive you if this is what you do.
Yeah.
I mean, I think anytime there's always going to be kind of those little conditionalisms with how people forgive people.
Yeah.
What if there's a God who's like really self-conscious, who doesn't want people to believe in him, and the only way he's going to give you heaven is if you don't believe in him? What if that exists?
The
what do
only
you
way
do
he's
then?
going to give you heaven.
Yeah.
I more meant along the lines of that if there is a God, is it going to be the Christian God that will send you to heaven or hell?
Or is it going to be my self-conscious God?
Is it going to be your self-conscious God that you have to not believe in? Yeah. He's like, thanks for being chill about things, bro.
Yeah.
Come on in.
Funny too, I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast before, but there's multiple 10 Commandments in the Bible, right?
Oh, there are?
And
which ones do you read then?
Well, so the one that the closest one to what's on all the monuments and stuff isn't the same one from the story in the Bible where Moses came down from the mountain. That one has, one of the commandments is you're not supposed to boil a baby goat in its mother's milk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the best way to have a baby goat.
I know. I can't think of any. Like, that's how I eat my goat. I'm just glad that we don't follow that one.
Yeah, that's it's probably for the best.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they said that it doesn't count, so you gotta be baptized when you're smart enough to like make the decision yourself.
I mean, I guess that's fair after you've been indoctrinated.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
After you've been
And then it's just a big spectacle to kind of draw you in more.
Yeah. You can't just baptize a kid who doesn't know any better. You have to teach them when they don't know any better.
That's why they should start circumcising babies when they're 15.
Exactly. You should circumcise yourself when you're 15.
Yeah.
Here's a scalpel. Figure it out.
This just sounds like it's just breeding assholes.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, ridiculous.
That I think that's one of my big problems with a lot of these, especially mission-based things. It seems to be the focus is so much on doing this stuff and that it's almost negating compassion.
Yeah.
Like for individuals and people involved, and even the mission work itself. While yes, I guess that sometimes they're doing some good things, it's also completely ignoring people's lives and beliefs that they already held, and their cultures, and it's
exactly.
I mean, how is this an act of good?
Yeah,
when there's all these like caveats to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, a side note, I was telling my coworker at work today, she was like, what are you doing tonight? I was like, oh, we're recording the podcast. And she's like, oh, what are you doing around this time? And I was like, oh, the Baptists. And she's like, oh, I grew up Baptist. Can you figure out why they weren't allowed to drink? And I was like, well, actually, that goes back to in the late 1800s. There was a lot of alcoholics and stuff that they were starting to support in their church in the mid 1800s, and they decided that they would not allow kind of drinking in their community to support them, and also that's when they replaced the wine in communion with grape juice because they use grape juice.
So it's more just trying to stop people from being drunks. So they just blanketed it on.
Exactly, and then she was like, well, why wasn't I allowed to dance then? What was the reason for that?
Oh, because dancing leads to sexing.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I said was that it was a small town, and the pastor of this church, his kid was killed in a car accident after a dance. So he banned dancing, and then Kevin Bacon had to come back and bring it back. So that's actually the origin of why a lot of Baptists don't.
I mean, I've heard the story before, but I know it's nice to have it validated by somebody.
Yeah, and it find its place in history.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we're back, and here's some.
Oh man.
Here, that was a trip.
A walk down memory lane for sure.
Yeah, that one. Remember that last one?
Yeah,
yeah.
I remember that last one.
Yeah, that was great. And then here's us talking about when the world's gonna end.
It better be soon.
Better be.
I'm sick of having to get up and go to work every day.
Yeah, it's like get back here, the Lord.
Yeah,
yeah.
I want to go to the Cloud Hotel.
I want to go where the people are.
Yeah,
walking around on those.
What do you call them? Feet. But if you're an angel, you don't need feet.
That's true.
Do angels not have feet?
No, they have them. They just don't need them.
Don't need them.
Yeah.
They just hover around on hoverboards.
Well, they use
like
them, I guess,
the
when like they hide their wings in their hoodie.
Oh.
Like they put a big sweater on or whatever so that they're hiding, so they can go incognito.
So when they're like at the mall, they don't want people like, hey, Angel.
Can I get your autograph?
I just want to be a normal person today.
I just want to get my churros.
Churros, yeah.
Yeah.
I would too if I was an angel. They don't have them in heaven, I guess.
They don't. But yeah, here's the end of the world.
So again, like the Christian, like the dogma would be that the second coming of Christ is not a reincarnation of Christ, but it's
it's supposed like in the Bible it says it's like him actually returning as he left, because he left by according to the Bible he left by like floating up into heaven. He's supposed to come back and the whole world's supposed to see him.
He took the space elevator out.
He took the space elevator
and
he's supposed to take the space elevator back down. Yeah. And he's supposed to have trumpets, and he's supposed to have horsemen.
Like a nice band.
A nice band.
Yeah.
Ska band.
An equestrian show.
Yeah. With the nice hats on the riders.
They reversed it when a pope stepped down, or something happened with a pope.
Yeah.
And then to Daniel. And then they use that same logic to like do math to find from the time of Daniel in the Bible.
Yeah.
To around that time, and they decided on Jesus was going to return between March 21st of 1843 and March 21st of 1844.
Wait, I don't. So they use the math to find out how far back the popes go to a certain date, and then they use it again to do. I don't get how this is telling where the.
Because there was a verse that said there'll be 2,300 days until the temple is rebuilt. So they took that to mean 23,000 or 2,300 years.
Oh, okay.
For some reason, and then they did the math, and
arbitrary
they
date.
said that from an arbitrary date to another arbitrary date, and said Christ is returning in 1844, and then it didn't happen by March 21st. So they recrunched the numbers and said it's definitely happening by October 22nd.
Do you think they got mad that he didn't cancel his reservation?
A big book that they read was a book called The Late Great Planet Earth.
Great Planet Earth?
Yeah. So that's kind of an end times, the world's going to end in the 80s kind of thing.
It's a very late 60s name, too.
Yeah, it is. It'd be a good name. Well, what they did make a movie out of it, but like if that didn't exist as like a Jesus book, it would be a good like sci-fi movie, like late 60s.
They live on the ship because the Earth is dead.
Yeah. They slowly pan away and talk about but then they get kidnapped by aliens or like bug aliens, or
and
something.
Then they just reminisce about life on Earth.
Yeah. And so he was a sports announcer, and then he held a press conference to let people know that he was the son of the Godhead.
Okay, what's the son of the Godhead?
So Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
Okay, so that's the Godhead.
So he's Jesus in that. Yeah. And that the world was going to end in 1997, and you needed to be prepared. Yeah, so that was him, and then eventually he's like, nah, take back. I don't know. William Miller. And he was going around saying the world was going to end, Jesus was going to come back in 1843.
Did it happen?
I'm not a history scholar.
That's true.
Yeah, I haven't looked it up, but I don't think so.
Okay.
I feel like that would be something they'd teach in school. Like, oh yeah, and by the way, the second coming of Jesus Christ was in 1843. But I didn't pay attention a lot.
That's true.
Yeah.
Maybe he came back and got caught up in the consumerist culture, and he owned a surf shop.
Yeah. It's very possible. This kind of started the end time stuff and Return of Christ stuff to be more central to a lot of people's theology, whereas before it was just kind of viewed as like, oh, this might happen. Christ might come back in our lifetime. He might not.
More of a surety and more of what, like, almost an end goal for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And so he kind of went on the coattails of that, and that's how he started. He went around preaching that Christ had come back in 1874.
Okay.
But not in a physical sense. And that the second coming was actually like more of the presence of Christ would return, which I always thought wasn't that the whole thing, was that he
always had his presence.
But
okay.
Yeah, and then the real establishing of the kingdom, God's kingdom on earth, would happen in 1914. And that, which also not a history guy. I don't know a lot about history, but I don't think that happened.
Yeah.
In 1914.
But he also refers to his church and his congregants as forerunners.
Like a forerunner.
Yeah.
Okay.
So some people have taken that to mean that you're bringing in the end of times, but he's comparing it more to
the car.
No, like they're like John the Baptist, how John the Baptist prophesied that Christ would come. They're prophesying that the end times will come, the tribulation, the rapture, all that wonderful stuff from Revelation. He's kind of obsessed with it. He's like, it's in a lot of ways it's an end times cult almost.
Yeah,
but very mainstream, like very well accepted, while still being very focused on the end times and bringing about the end times. Because like he'll say stuff like the church is hastening the return of Christ with these prayers. You're bringing about the end of times because we're bringing about change in the world that will cause Christ to be like, yeah, we're coming, we're returning, we're coming back.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I can see how from their perspective that would be a good thing.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's also crazy.
Yeah. They also, like I said, they're really into that God's gonna come back. He's on his way. God's coming around.
I mean, it sounds kind of like an abusive relationship where you're just like, he's gonna come back.
Yeah.
Like Dad went to the store for some cigarettes. I was like, he'll be back any day now.
Yep.
Any day he'll be back. It's like,
that's exactly what it is.
You gotta move on.
Move on. Find somebody
Let
else.
go.
Get a stepdad.
Get a stepdad.
And we're back. That was there.
Like I said, can't come quick enough.
Yeah, and here's some things about sex.
Yeah, that's the one thing that after the end of the world just makes you want to bone down. Yeah.
Bone down.
You just want to be pumping
and pump. But did you ever see the video of him crying and apologies?
I have.
Yeah,
yes.
apologizing. Yeah. So he was caught with prostitutes on many occasions. The thing is, I was told as a kid, because he was pulled over in 91. This is after the crying thing. He was pulled over, and he had a prostitute in the car with him.
Yeah,
I was told at the time that he was caught with a pornographic magazine.
Oh, really?
I have no idea why I was told that. Like,
maybe it makes it seem less bad than it is, kind of thing.
Yeah, or maybe it's so that I don't look at porn. I don't know.
Like, so you don't know what
I was only
prostitutes
10
are?
years old. Like, I feel like at 10 years old I knew the concept of a prostitute.
Did you?
I didn't know. Like,
I don't know if I did when I was 10.
Well, yeah, I mean, think I'd seen Pretty Woman.
I don't know if I'd seen Pretty Woman.
No, Milk Money wasn't out yet.
But even if you had seen it, did you necessarily know?
I knew that she was paid to hang out with him.
Yeah.
And you're not supposed to pay people to hang out with you.
That's fair.
Just telling someone that because they do this, they are worth less.
Yeah.
That's such an abuse and such an abuse of power and authority.
It's true. Yeah.
Again, and it's trying to keep people in this kind of like line. It's about this absurd control over people's bodies.
Yeah.
And mind, and this obsession with sex for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't see its relevance anymore.
Yeah. So when Adam and Eve eat the fruit, that's a symbol of them giving into their sexual lust.
Okay.
And this fruit was grafted to their bodies in the form of genitals.
All right.
Like male, like testicles, and women's breasts.
I gotta tell you, I've never eaten fruit that felt like sex.
No, I haven't, but I've had some really juicy pears.
Oh, that's
they're very good.
Oh man, a good pear. A good pear is pretty good.
Yeah.
They don't look like testicles.
They don't. But
or dongers.
Oh man, but they feel like I don't know what they feel like, but they're good.
Okay,
so what he had these lesser seal, what he called the lesser seal and the greater seal. So you join him, you join the team,
If you're a guy and you want to say, hey, I'm in, you cut your testicles off.
Oh.
But if you want to say, I'm like really in, so that was the lesser seal. If you want to say, like, I'm really into your club, you cut the whole deal off. What? So your penis and your testicles, gone.
Did people do this?
People did it.
People did this.
I saw a picture of it when I was researching this.
Why would you do that?
I don't know. Life's short.
I can't imagine. Okay, so first of all, I was like, sex is bad.
Yeah.
No one should do it. And then the people that do want to be in this have to cut your junk off.
Yeah.
I can't imagine you have high enrollment rates.
Can you
imagine if that's what you had to do to join the Y?
But you get to use the pool anytime.
As much as you want.
Another thing, too, with schools, they really lobby against certain things that are taught in sex ed classes, usually. And I think we even saw that in Ontario.
Recently, a couple years ago, there was a huge push for it because they were updating the curriculum.
Yeah.
Where they were starting, I think they were starting it as young as kindergarten.
Yeah.
But the thing about it, though, it wasn't necessarily talking about sex in kindergarten. It was just about consent.
Yeah.
And it was about having children know their bodies and what's okay and what isn't okay.
Yeah.
Which is so incredibly important.
Yeah.
But people are so hard fast. It's like, we can't teach children about sex because we're afraid of it.
Yeah, exactly. I went to high school for a year and a half in Alberta. Mm-hmm. And they had a separate sex ed class for Mormon and Christian kids because it was such a high popularized, there's so many Mormons and Christians in that area that they had to add another class, which I think is crazy for a public school.
Eventually I started going to this thing. It was like a weekly thing where it was basically sex night every week. I only went a couple times. So we'd all meet together, we'd sing songs and stuff, and then they'd split us up between guys and girls. And one time this guy in the group, the girls weren't even out of the room yet, and he goes, guys, I've been masturbating so much more lately.
Those were sex. And here's some clips, other ones.
This is just mixed bag for you.
Mixed bag. Enjoy.
Here's a biological leftover.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to someone about this. Is like they were asking, like, why do men have nipples? And it's like it's just the developmental stages of human beings. It's just how we develop in the womb. We all start as one gender, and then it kind of goes wherever to where it goes.
Yeah, I always thought it was because God thought we looked weird without them.
That's true. If we were just smooth.
Yeah, it'd be weird. Yeah.
Do you think we could probably get some surgery to just be smooth?
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we get something else there instead of nipples?
Let's get that going.
Yeah, like maybe hot and cold faucet. I was going to get one for melted butter.
Oh.
And then the other one could be for, I don't know, soda water or something.
Yeah.
Wait, what? So there's a group of people who say that their teeth were replaced with gold teeth.
Yeah, by God.
For why?
As a sign that he will provide for them financially.
So there's someone in the city giving these people gold teeth?
No, most of them,
they don't actually
their dentists
have
are
gold teeth?
they looked at their records we put gold teeth in them years ago.
Oh, okay. So they just had gold teeth.
Yeah, and gold fillings. So they said that they were turning their fillings to gold. And then the dentist would be like, no, they just had a gold filling.
Okay, so this wasn't they retroactively put it in and then told people, oh, guys, they already had the work.
They already
done,
had them, but sometimes people don't know it's gold. And then, I don't know.
Yeah, another thing that's been hitting the news a lot lately is something called grave soaking or grave sucking.
Grave sucking?
Or grave soaking. So, so in this type of church and in this type of charismatic ideology, I guess, there's something called soaking, and that's where you just everybody spends time together and they pray for blessings, and they just pray for each other for blessings. There's no sermon or anything. You're there all praying and soaking in the Spirit is what they call it.
Okay.
This is something a little different where you sit on a grave. Mm-hmm. And you pray for the blessings that this person had in their life to be transferred to you.
So you're trying to absorb their energy after they're dead?
Yep, they're basically vampires.
What?
Yeah. So it was pretty controversial for a while, and then they've interviewed both Chris Folloton and Bill Johnson about it, and they both say they don't agree with it. They think it's wrong. But there's also pictures of Bill Johnson like on gravestones. But he says that was just because he was like he likes to go visit these like revivalist headstones and stuff to like inspire him to be more like them. He doesn't do it to like soak up their blessing.
You're trying to absorb their powers, and you didn't even kill them in battle.
Exactly.
Because
he was born in 31, and maybe it was before that, but I don't think so.
I don't think that's how reincarnation works.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah, and I don't know if you can be the reincarnation of like 5 different people, because he said Gandhi.
Oh, maybe you can. Maybe like you get parts of them.
Oh, you get parts of their soul,
like a Megazord.
Oh, or like that makes
like
sense.
In
or
Power
Voltron.
Rangers. Yeah, or like Voltron.
Yeah. Father Divine, Jesus, Buddha, and Vladimir Lenin.
That's a weird mix.
Yeah, it is a weird mix.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a mutt when it comes to the divine.
Yeah. You pick like some of the biggest names and then just some dude.
Yeah.
And what they would do is they would hold it up to your ear, and then you, like, when the lights are off, you're doing the seance, and you would hear the whispering of the ghost.
Oh, like when you hear the ocean in a conch.
Yeah.
Conch?
Yeah.
In a shell, when you put a shell to your ear.
But usually it was either the person, the medium, is a ventriloquist.
Okay. Oh.
Or...
They're creepy. Jeff Dunham.
It's like Jeff Dunham. Or there's just an accomplice in the other room, and then
sense.
they whisper, and you can hear it better.
Anyways, thanks everybody. This has been a great year.
Yeah, we're hoping for at least another year.
At least another one, maybe a year and a half.
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
When's the next Doomsday supposed to happen?
That's a good question.
Judgment Day. Sorry, Doomsday is something else, I think.
Well, yeah, Doomsday, that's he kills Superman.
Yeah.
And then Judgment Day is Terminator.
I get them mixed up all the
time.
time.
And Armageddon is
the asteroid.
Billy Bob Thornton. Yeah.
Which NASA's saying that we'll probably get hit by something in our lifetime.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That one's probably the most likely.
Yeah, it's probably.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see you guys at Armageddon.
See you then, guys.
Or the Rapture.
Or Deep Impact, whichever comes first.
Yeah. I think Armageddon was first.
Yeah, but I meant in real life.
Right.
Which comes first.
Right. I guess that's clip show.
Work, Sky Moon. His name was Kondrativ Selevanov. Can you read that? Is that how...
Kondrativ.
Oh, that's a Y. Kondrati Selevanov. Named Chris Valentinworth.
Valentinwith?
That word there. Valentinwith? Did I just like...
Valentinwith? Yeah, something like that.
Valentine? Maybe I just...
you might have.
I might have fucked up the spelling. It's just
Chris.
Valentine. Chris Valentine.
Chris V.
Valentine. Valentine. It doesn't matter. Any questions about Krishnaism?
Krishnaism?
So we talked about Christian today.